Welcome to the Gleeful Meeple, a podcast all about board games where strategy meets laughter and engine building doesn't require rods and pistons. In this episode, we go head-to-head to talk about our favorite two-player games and what makes two-player games unique. We start from nothing and build our engine to create a particularly perfect combination of buildings and resources in this week's game of the show, Point City. And you, the Gleeples, get to play along as the hosts get put in the hot seat with this week's game challenge. So plan for those civic buildings and use your wilds wisely because you may be building the city, but hey, it's in the title. You're here for the points. Hey, everybody.
Hey, James. Welcome back.
Well, thanks. Good to be back.
We missed you. That opening gave me the strangest sense of deja vu.
Yeah. It's like... But it felt complete. I don't know. It's just...
It did. Let's go to the phones. No.
Wait,
no,
hold on.
No, we have had
no more
to
phones.
disconnect the Glee phone. It is out of commission.
So I heard about this. We have a Glee phone? What happened when I was gone?
Things got weird. All of a sudden, someone found our phone number, and then I guess more people found it. I don't know exactly what happened, but all of a sudden, we had a producer who was screening calls for us. It was pretty amazing.
Producer Kenny, wasn't it? It was Producer Kenny?
It was Producer Kenny.
Kenny does a lot around here.
He
writes
does.
our music, answers the phone for us, edits every now and then.
Yeah.
It's pretty impressive.
He's a good man
He's a
and
good man.
thorough.
Yes. I think our phone number is available on the dark web if you search hard enough.
If you pay enough crypto.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, before we dive deep into the dark web.
Well, before we even do that, who the heck are we?
Oh,
my
I'm
name's
Emily.
James. What are you guys?
She said something, I think, maybe. Did you say your name?
I did say my name.
You did say your name. I
Yes.
don't think. Well, we kind of got left in the loop, out of the loop there.
This is Dwayne.
Yeah. And I'm JK. And both Dwayne and JK have been recently coined as monikers powerhouses.
Oh, yeah,
I will
did
take
happen.
that to my grave.
Yeah,
I am super happy
very
about that.
happy about that.
It really is incredible to watch JK and Dwayne play monikers. Like, they are just going through cards like it's nothing. And then the next person, like, coming up just seems a little bit timid. Like, even if they're good, they're just not JK and Dwayne.
It's the only time in my life I think I've ever been referred to as intimidating. So
It's a sight to behold, honestly. Your capacity for memorizing those random facts on those cards and regurgitating them round after round in different ways with such speed and such ferocity is, like you said, intimidating.
aw, y'all are so sweet.
I always like to see how people approach the cards differently, because my thing is, like, I need them to say this word on this card as quickly as possible. And I know a lot of people kind of get nervous and they'll start reading all the text on the card. I'm like, by the time you get to the point in that text that will give the clue away, you've lost valuable seconds, because that game is all about okay, so now this is just going to be the monikers tip section. The other thing I always tell my team when we're playing is keep those cards face up, so that way you can slap through them.
Yep.
Because, like, even
When they're when they're flipping cards in their hand, it slows down.
Yep.
Yeah, it's a really, if you haven't played it, it's a great party game. It can draw out. That's the one negative thing I'll say about it, is that it takes a long time to play sometimes, which is why it's a perfect night closer.
Yeah,
Yes.
and I've kind of started to take into consideration how many people are playing and how many cards I'm divvying out to keep the deck relatively the same size, no matter how many people are playing. So
I always try to shoot for 40
to
cards
50,
for
yeah.
a normal monikers game. Sometimes I'll do a shorter version with 30 cards, but
We
40 cards is perfect.
we had some tough ones in that one. Chekhov's gun, the Bechtel test. There were some obscure cards.
I may
there.
have put at least 2 of those.
Those were both you? Oh, wonderful.
I'm sure Bechtel test was. Chekhov's gun feels like something I would have put in there.
Okay. James is chomping the bit. He wants to talk.
Well, I was pleased to hear last episode that my riddle took you a moment, Dwayne.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I liked it.
I have something for you guys today.
Ooh.
It's a dark haiku.
Oh, dim the lights.
Notes of sorrow play. cards reveal his tale.
I got it.
Death.
It's Lacrimosa.
It is Lacrimosa. Way to come back from last episode, Dwayne.
That might be my best performance on a riddle ever.
Was the last line just death?
Yes.
Oh, that's harsh.
I figured it was less obvious than Requiem.
Oh,
yeah.
If you played the game, that would kind of give it away.
Have you played Lacrimosa yet?
Oh, yeah.
Okay. Emily, have you played it yet?
I have not.
I have tried to get Emily to play this game on more than one occasion. And for one, it's just one of those cursed games that isn't making it to the table for us, Emily. But I think you'd really get a kick out of it.
You would, especially your background in music. I think you'd get a kick out of just the idea behind the game.
Yeah, that's what I'm intrigued by it. But like Dwayne said, we just haven't been able to get it to a table.
We may need to change that soon.
Yeah, I was really impressed with my first play. And actually, I make a weird comparison to it just because it gave me the same feels as this game. And it's Rococo.
Yeah, yeah, totally get it.
And I wrote it out once because somebody else asked me about it. And I think like 60% of the game gave me that feel, and the other 40% is completely different. I mean, there's a lot in Lacrimosa that's not in Rococo. But when I got finished playing it, I was like, this is like just an advanced, more complicated Rococo, which was great because Rococo looks like there's a lot going on, but it's a pretty medium tier Euro. It's not very complicated, which is part of why I like it. It's pretty simple to get to the table. But this left me feeling like it was just a more complicated version of that in a good way. Like there's just more going on.
Mm-hmm.
So, but I want to play it more to see if I can nail down exactly the pinpoints of what was causing that feeling.
Yeah, I'd love to get it to the table a little more often. In fact, did both of you have your first play with me at Tennessee Games Day?
Yep.
Yeah.
For Lacrimosa, yes.
Yeah, there we go.
And then I bought it shortly after, or bought it just before and let you teach me. I can't remember what the order was, but yeah, it's definitely a winner. Dwayne, while we're on that time frame of Lacrimosa and Rococo, Dwayne and I this weekend got to play Obsession.
Yeah.
Which was really, really cool. I've been wanting to get exposed to that.
Was that your first play?
First play, yeah. Really enjoyed it.
Yeah, you exposed me to that game at Disc Insider.
Right. I remember the time we played.
When you busted that out at Diskin, I was like, that's a pretty complicated. I'm surprised you're bringing that out at like just one of our events because it's hard sometimes to get the complicated games out at events. Mm-hmm. And it actually wasn't that bad.
No, I think the most complicated thing about Obsession is that it's so point salady at the end. You've got points coming from so many directions. Yeah. And fortunately, I think by the time JK and I played it, I had my teach a little better refined. So yeah, it's a little easier to teach, and it is the level of game that I can easily play at or teach at an event now.
Yeah. Dwayne did win. I kind of knew early on. I think I said before the game even started. This is my learn the game and lose the game effort, but it was fun.
Have you played Obsession, Emily?
I have not played that one either.
Emily, have you given up on games, Emily? Are you playing anything anymore? Is that?
I am. I played Cranium Who Knew last night. I don't know if you've ever heard of that, but it's a cute little party game for the family. It plays similar to Apples, where you pick a card for like the active player to choose, but the whole point is you're just picking a card that you think is the active player's favorite thing. And so we did for like my sister, and I put the card in making lists, and that ended up being second place as her second favorite thing. And so you get to take points based off of like where your card is in the ranks. So not quite like Obsession, but it's been a good family game.
If you're trying to figure out the favorite things, are there whiskers on kittens?
Warm woolen mittens?
Yes.
There you go.
Raindrops on roses.
That's a good one.
Any of those in there? No? Okay.
Well, do we have a discussion for you today, Gleeples?
What are we talking about today, James?
Yeah, I lost my notes. What do we have on the docket for today?
Oh, so nobody knows. I can just make it up right now?
Yeah. Let's make something up. Let's do it live.
Board games on the dark web. Let's go.
I'm going to rely on the tech team for that one. What's out there, guys?
I have not yet accessed the dark web, but I'm trying.
Liar. The only people that have accessed the dark web say they haven't accessed the dark web. So
it's the first rule about the dark web.
Denial.
We're going to talk a little bit about two-player games.
Oh.
All right.
Yeah. What makes them special, what makes them challenging, and maybe some of our favorites.
Okay. Well, this is interesting. So if I go back to my early days of craft gaming, it was mostly my wife and I. And so before I found Gleeful Meeple, before I found this group of people to play with, we were exclusively 2-player games. And in some cases it worked. We could find games that were specifically designed for 2 players. Some we could follow the 2-player modifications if a game had it. But that actually took a lot of games completely out of our circle. I don't know if we've talked about this on the show, but one of the gaping holes in my game resume, one that I think I've only played maybe 1 or 2 times, is Settlers of Catan, which requires a 3rd player to be involved. And because of that, I just didn't touch it for years on end. My wife really isn't as much of a player anymore, so I've probably tamped down a little bit on 2-player games that I play, but I got some I can probably talk about here.
Yeah, and 2-player games, specifically 2-player only games, have really come into their own, I would say, in the last, 10 years, maybe even less than that. They weren't always that easy to find early on, outside of like classic card games and things like that. But modern board gaming, 2-player specific games that can only be played with 2 players weren't very common.
I would also say, as an event host, a frequent event host at some of our places, 2-player games they're a killer for me. I hate to see when they come out, because to me that's a couple players just kind of locked in with one another instead of socializing with the broader group. But they do happen, and there are some good games to kind of get people involved with it.
Well, it's also good if we have an event going on and all the tables are full and you have 2 people waiting to find a table. The other nice thing about 2-player games, and one of them, I guess we can just kind of jump into some of the aspects of 2-player games that make them great, is that they can be fast.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. That's it. When I was looking up some of the games for this episode, I came across a list on BGG where it's like this couple have compiled a list of their favorite 2-player games, and like the things that they look for is like, can they get it done kind of quickly, like just kind of like an after dinner hang, whatever, afternoon before dinner hang, and can it fit on a coffee shop table? So I think that's like another pro, is that some 2-player games are like nice and compact.
Yeah. A lot of let's see, it was Rio Grande that used to have a line, the small box, a line of 2-player games.
Were those the Cosmos games?
I'm thinking Cosmos.
Cosmos has taken a lot of those games now.
Okay.
So like Lost Cities used to be Rio Grande, and Cosmos has it now. Lost Cities is probably the first like modern 2-player game that I played, and fortunately it's one that my wife absolutely loves. We play a lot of Lost Cities. It's a perfect 2-player game.
We've also had in the last few years some significant games that are generally played with more than 2 players have done a reworking of their game to make it a specific 2-player game. I'm thinking of Seven Wonders Duel and Splendor Duel, which are both fantastic 2-player games.
And don't forget Imhotep Duel as well.
Imhotep Duel, yeah.
Yeah, the whole duel, you could call it a series of games. They're different games, but XX game Duel started with Seven Wonders Duel.
Yeah.
They did that, and then all the other publishers realized, we could just make 2-player versions of our games and call it Splendor Duel, Imhotep Duel, and whatever Duel, and reach a whole new audience of board gamers, because a lot of people don't play 2-player games because they only play in groups.
Yeah.
A lot of people only play 2-player games because it's them and their spouse or the person they live with or whatever the case is, and it's they can create this product and provide for an audience of the community, but then also be successful as a product financially. So you just see these dual games coming out all the time now.
Yeah.
Just kind of nonstop. Every year there's a new one.
Yeah, James, I think that's a great point. Like, I think we're very lucky to have Gleeful Meeple, and that we have just so many people come to events. I was looking at my BG stats earlier, and it's the majority of my game plays are 4-player games. And it's like I talk to people that are kind of like outside of the group just randomly through my other hobbies of life. And it's like, they can't always get a game group together. Like maybe one person in their life plays games. So having a 2-player game like catalog is great options for them.
What are some of your outside of the duel games, what are some of the 2-player games that come to mind for you as being particularly strong that are focused on 2 players, not just a broader game with less players?
For me, a couple that I've been playing a lot recently are Shobu, which is a small little abstract game where you see it on the table. It's 4 wooden boards, individual wooden boards with grids on them. I want to say it's 4x4 grids, just kind of etched into the wood. And each player, you sit across from each other, and one side, one player has 2 of those boards, and the other player has the other 2 boards. And you have a piece of rope that comes with the game that you place in between you. That does nothing for the game. But anytime somebody walks by it and sees it on the table, they're like, huh. Because you have this rope separating these boards, and they're like, what's that used for? Oh, nothing. It's just for fun. But they've spent money to put it in the game. And then on those 4 boards, also what this game comes with is a bunch of rocks. It's literally just a bunch of stones that you could go outside and pick up. They're smooth, polished stones, but literally they're just, white and black stones. And the main conceit of this game is that there's a mirroring of moves happening. So when it's your turn, you make moves on your side, and then the other person has to mirror that move on their side. And there's more to it than that, but that's the main thing about this game is that, what you're able to do is kind of directly tied to what the person that your opponent did. And so you have to move stones in the same direction in the same manner. And it's pretty interesting. And if you like chess style, it's not as complicated as chess, but that kind of abstract game where it's just literally just about strategy, about moving pieces on a board, it is fantastic. And it's usually somewhat inexpensive.
I think the rope symbolizes the push and pull between the 2 players. You can't make a move without the other player following along. So that rope is right there with you.
That's it, JK. You nailed it. So that's one I've been playing a lot. Another one I've been playing a lot is I'll just name 2 others real quick. Radlands, which is a 2-player card game from Roxley.
I missed that one.
It's great. It's actually there's a normal version and a super deluxe version. The normal version is literally just a deck of cards. It's really pretty inexpensive for the most part. And a little 2-player back and forth card battling game, you can kind of call it. You have each player has camps at the closest part of the table towards them, camp cards, and then they play out cards in front of those camps that that are people, and those people are protecting those camps. And you're basically taking a lot of actions to battle each other's people back and forth to get access to the camps, so you can then damage the camps and destroy the camps. And it's a constant thing about you're knocking people out and then getting new people, drawing new people from the deck, and spending resources to get them out and attack your player. And you're just trying to protect your camps constantly, and first player to take out 2 of your camps wins. It's great. The deluxe version is really nice, nice player mats. And then last one is Air, Land, and Sea.
Oh, I've played that with you. It's so good.
Very simple game. Yeah. You're battling over the 3 not territories.
Theaters of War.
Theaters of War, thank you. The 3 theaters of war, Air, Land, and Sea. They have a normal version and a super cartoony, fun-looking version.
That's fun.
And yeah, I got that one. It's fun to look at. And it's a really simple card game where you're playing cards out to the 3 theaters, back and forth, trying to battle for control over those theaters. Very simple. Some card manipulation where the cards have powers. If you play this card here, you can flip another one over on the other side, and little things like that. But again, quick playing, very fun, simple strategy. And you play a number of games in a row to give each player an opportunity to be first player, and then see who wins.
I would love to play Radlands again. I had one play. It was my first time learning the game, and my instructor wiped the floor with me. And I was like, I kind of hate this game, but I hear so many positive things about it. I'd love to give it another try.
Dwayne, what are a couple of your favorites?
So Lost Cities is definitely up there. Lost Cities is a simple card math game. You have 5 expeditions on the table, on the board, and you have cards that are valued 2 through 10 in each of the colors, as well as 3 investment cards. anytime you start an expedition, you are already in the hole 20 points, and the idea is to climb your way out of that hole and try to make those expeditions that you have funded valuable points wise. Typically a game, you play 3 rounds of it, and what I love about the 3-round rule is if I'm behind in the second round, I can make some. I have played this game a lot, and so I have a very particular strategy for it, unless I'm behind in the third round, and then it's like I go for broke, and sometimes I end up in a negative score that way, and sometimes I pull out a victory that way. So Lost City's always high on my 2-player list, has been for almost 20 years now, I want to say. I also like Patchwork a great deal. We played Nova Luna here on the show, and Patchwork is it's a very similar game where time is a commodity, and I find that very interesting. And I had one more that came to mind that I really love for 2 players, and it's just it's not there. It's gone for the moment.
Erased.
Well,
Right.
Patchwork's a great one because they've re-released it with lots of fun themes over the years. So like Valentine's Day Patchwork, Christmas Patchwork. So if you did want to try a 2-player game that's fun to play, that has lots of fun things you can do alongside it, that's a great one to get into.
Yeah,
and you know what's
sure.
great about the versions on Patchwork is that the game is at a price point where it's $20, maybe $25 these days.
There's not much to it.
There's not much to it, and like, I'll buy a Christmas version to have that part of the year.
Yeah. Emily, what are your favorites?
Yeah, that's similar to Patchwork. I felt like Boop is like that. Boop is kind of like a chess like game, or you're just putting cats on a bed, and whenever they're placed near another cat, it boops them a square away.
Sounds just like chess. Yep.
It's just like, it's a very cute game, and they came out with like a Halloween version called Boop.
Nice.
And so that when you were talking about the Patchwork stuff, that reminded me of that. That's one of my top 2-player games, and I'm like looking at my list, and I'm like, oh, like I feel like my list is like somewhat like chill 2-player games. Like I feel like there's the duels that we talked about where they can get aggressive and kind of like very competitive. And then there's kind of like the cozier side, like Patchwork and Boop. I was thinking of Sky Team. We've mentioned that on the show before, but that's a cooperative 2-player game where you're working together with the other person to land a plane. And I recently played that. I had played it at Gen Con for the first time, and I remember thinking like, oh, this is kind of easy. And then playing it again recently, that I'm like, oh no, I'm actually like nervous. Like I feel like we're gonna crash this plane, and we accidentally did kind of like flip it on the first on the first try, and that was like partly my fault because I didn't explain it well. And it was the other person's like first time playing that. And I think Sky Team's like unique too, that it has a lot of replayability. They start you off with like the beginner module to help just kind of get you started with like the runway and the altitude changing and whatnot. But then there's other modules, like you can try landing in different airports, and some are going to be harder than others. And so I think that gives it a unique flavor.
I'm glad you brought that up because that was actually the third game that I wanted to talk about. But yeah, what's neat about that is there are actually different scenarios and problems to solve. Like I know one of them that I've played, you have a fuel that you have to mitigate. Apparently you have a leak in the plane and you're losing fuel every round. So that gives you yet another issue to overcome as you try to make your way to Heathrow or wherever you're on your way to.
Yeah, I've heard so much about this game. It was really hot when it came out last year, and it's won a number of awards, I think, since then. So definitely one to check out. I've wanted to play this, and just it hasn't popped up in my sphere yet.
That was the one thing I really tried to get at Gen Con last year. I got there on Sunday, and I was about 10 people behind where they cut off the line, and the line was long.
Of my favorites, one that I haven't talked about on the show at all, and I don't know if any of you have played it, is a game called Onitama. And Onitama is an Asian chess-like game.
So it has cats in it?
No cats, no booping. You have 5 pieces in the game. You have a leader and 4 followers. Both sides have that. It's a very small board. The rules for winning the game are very simple. You either capture the other person's leader or you get one of your players to the original space that the other person's leader started on. Movement is where this game gets fun because there's only 5 moves in the game. And those are random each game. So think like, in chess where bishops move diagonally, knights move in an L, queens can move everywhere. Each move is styled after an animal. So let's say a crab, you might look at the crab's sheet and say, my starting point is here. These are the 4 spaces where I can go with this piece. And all of the pieces can do that crab move. But as soon as you do that move, you set that card aside, and on the next turn, that's going to your opponent. So they can also do the crab move. So you're limited to only 2 possible moves each turn that you can choose out of the 5 that are in the game constantly rotating around. You're thinking ahead, going, how can I position my person and hope that they give me that card so that I can do that move? It's great strategy. The other one that obviously comes to mind, I think my favorite 2-player game of all time is Dice Throne.
Okay.
And we've got, in the Gleeful Meeple group, we've got a Dice Throne tournament currently underway. It's been underway for a couple months, but we're trying to get through it. We had 30 participants. Each person got their own unique character, and we're going through head-to-head battles, just gradually eliminating player after player. Should hit the end of this game, I hope, sometime in July, where we'll crown a champion. Listeners, unfortunately, all 4 of us participated in this tournament, and none of the 4 of us are still remaining in this tournament. We got some good players in Gleeful Meeple.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I love Dice Throne. I have a lot of it. If you've not ever played it before, it's like battled Yahtzee is the best way to describe it.
It's Magic the Gathering meets Yahtzee.
Exactly.
100%.
Yep. So you have your individual character, and it comes in this nice little case. So you open up the case, and it has this character board. It has a deck of cards. It has unique dice, and it has unique chits and tokens specifically just for that character. And so you get all that set up, and your opponent gets all their stuff set up, and you literally roll dice up to 3 times in a row.
Would you say that the dice are thrown?
Oh, goodness.
And you're trying to get combinations on these dice, like runs, sets, different things like that are represented on your player board. On your player board, you have a number of different combinations that can result in attacking your opponent. If you roll a 5 number straight, you can do this attack. If you roll a full house, you can do this attack, and things like that. So you're rolling these dice, playing cards from your own special deck to manipulate those dice sometimes, or manipulate the powers. And you go back and forth, taking turns, battling each other, whittling each other's health dial down. You each start at, I think it's 50?
40 or 50, I think at 2 players.
Yeah.
And then with more players, you can actually play teams, or you can play a whole table full of people on this if you want to. I don't recommend either of those ways, but you do it with less health.
Gotcha. Yep. So you whittle down the health until somebody wins, and it's a little back and forth battle Yahtzee game. Tons of fun. They have a number of sets now, so you can mix and match the characters. But great 2-player game that does also play in big groups, which I've done once, and it's different.
I wonder if Richard Garfield has played that because he did the Yahtzee thing with King of Tokyo, King of New York,
and Magic,
and he created Magic. It is a merger of 2 of those. So I feel like he would have played it. Went, I almost had this. I almost did this game.
JK, I'm glad you brought up Dice Throne. I was wondering if you knew. Do you think was Dice Throne set up to be a 2-player game, and then they adapted it for more players?
Yes. It is intended to be head-to-head, and then there's rules modifications for more players.
Much like Magic the Gathering.
Yeah.
Because that's it. Like, I feel like there's a lot of other multiplayer games, and this is probably a good transition point, but a lot of multiplayer games that try to adapt down to 2 players. And, like, I think my least favorite adaptation would be whenever a game is just like, okay, have a dummy 3rd player.
Yeah, 100%. I'm with you on that.
Both players control.
Alhambra is a favorite of both mine and my wife. We tried the 2-player version once, and I started reading the rules. It was like, you have a 3rd dummy player. I'm like, nope, absolutely not. We will pull something off the shelf that just plays.
Put it back in the box.
Mm-hmm. Well, I mean, 7 Wonders Duel is an amazing 2-players game. 7 Wonders at 2 players is awful. It's a horrible game. I can't believe they're that far apart.
That's a good point.
Yeah, when you take a multiplayer game and then create special, and this is kind of a similar conversation of like multiplayer games with solo modes. 2-player modes is closer to the full game, but they're still modified. Some games get it right, I think, and some games don't quite. Definitely, I stay away from those where it's like, here's a dummy player, here's this weird thing you have to add into the game to make it work. Most games that get it close to right, for me at least, is when it's just things as simple as, hey, you just cover up this part of the board and you don't use that, right? Or cover over these couple of things, because having those available in a 2-player game would make it too easy and wide open to get what you need. So we need to add more constraints around the players. So just don't use these parts of the board.
Take out these cards, which are specifically designed for a 4-player game.
Right. And when that's done well, I think those games do play well at 2 players. Some games that even do that, I think, that go through those same motions of cover this, take those cards out. Sometimes I play them and it still feels like this just wasn't meant for 2 players.
Yeah.
But they needed to be able to put 2 to 4 players on the box so it would sell more. And that is genuinely the case with some of these games. They want to appeal to a broader audience, so they spend a little bit of time developing what a 2-player version would look like, or a little bit of time developing what a solo mode would look like, or solo play, and they put it in the box, but it really wasn't designed for that.
Yeah.
And I have to remind myself sometimes when I play those games, I almost have to go into them thinking like, okay, let me think about if I wasn't covering stuff up right now, open the box up, and this is just how the game was, would it work for me? And sometimes it doesn't, sometimes it does. But I mean, overall, 2-player games really can appeal to a pretty specific audience, and they fill a great need. I think going to Emily's point when she was talking about, she was looking at the story on BGG from that couple that, right, they're small, they're compact, they take them out with them to places. They really do fit a great spot for that, for filling in some gaming time when you don't necessarily always want it to be a 2-hour, 3-hour experience.
By the way, postscript, that couple's no longer together. She murdered him.
Oh my goodness.
Play 2-player games, guys. You'll love it. It's great for your relationships.
Great at board game information, not so much about real life information.
All right, listeners, this game of the show is Point City. Point City is published by AEG. It's designed by Molly Johnson, Robert Melvin, and Sean Stankwich. The artist is Dylan Majani, and it was released in 2023. It plays 1 to 4 people, but it's at its most gleeful at 2 players. Emily, walk us through Point City.
All right. So, Point City is a card drafting and engine building game where players will draft resources, buildings, and civic tokens to gain the most victory points by the end of the game. Each turn, players will take 2 adjacent cards from the 4x4 city grid and add them to their personal city, expanding it. Resource cards and bonus tags from select city cards are used to construct building cards that require specific combinations of resources. Players can also build special civic structures for special endgame scoring. Once the city grid can no longer be replenished, players count up their points from their buildings and civic tokens to see who is the top urban planner, and that's Point City.
We built Point City. We built Point City out of some cards. What did you guys think of this game?
I was first introduced to this game at Tabletop Day in 2023, and we did not play it correctly. But I was intrigued by the concept, and so played it again, realized I liked it. And then on a random adventure to a hobby store with Dwayne when he was trying to find paints, I found it on a shelf, and it was pretty cheap, decently priced, and so it became an impulse buy. And now I play it with my family. My 8-year-old nephew has started to get a real knack for it, which has been fun to see.
Have any of you played Point Salad?
That was going to be my next question.
Yes.
I have not.
You haven't.
I have.
Dwayne has. Emily?
I haven't either. I knew it existed, but I just had never seen it.
So this is the follow-up to another same-size box game, although really it's just a deck of cards. It could be a smaller box, but called Point Salad. And it's a play on words. Once you play board games in the hobby enough, you come across a lot of terminology. And Point Salad with board games just describes games that, everything that you do gives you points. everything in the game. And so that game, it's about getting points, but the actual theme of the game is vegetables.
Is it the same play style?
No, so it's dumbed down. Well, I should say it was the original, so it's not dumbed down. Point City is more advanced, I guess, and increased.
Okay.
So I could describe Point Salad in probably 30 seconds almost. So you have a deck of cards. On one side of the card is vegetables, just onion, tomato. That's just one vegetable. On the other side of the card is an endgame scoring objective based off of sets of vegetables or just types of vegetables. Every tomato you have gets you 2 points. Every carrot you have gets you 3 points. Every onion you have gets you -1 point. Every whatever you have gets you -3 points. Every sets of 3 tomatoes you have gets you, 8 points. It's all just stuff like that. You deal out these cards into 3 separate piles and deal 2 cards from each of those piles into a central area on the table. So 3 decks of cards with 2 cards dealt out from each, and that's 6 cards from the market of vegetable cards. Those 6 cards are face up or vegetable cards. On the decks of cards that you dealt from, those are the opposite side, the end game scoring objectives. On your turn, you're only doing one of 2 things. You're taking either 2 vegetable cards, or you're taking an end game scoring objective card from the top of the deck and adding it to your collection. And that's it. You take 2 vegetables or an end game scoring objective, and then on your turn, if you like, for a free action, you can flip one of your previously taken end game scoring objectives to the opposite side to a vegetable. If you're halfway through the game and you realize, I'm not going to close it out, you can flip it over to a vegetable, but not the other way around. And that's literally it. You're taking vegetable cards to try and meet these objectives that you're collecting, and at the end of the game, whoever's made the most points wins. That's it. There's no resources like Point City. There's no cities. There's no extra tokens. Nothing like that. It's just vegetables and scoring objectives. Super fast, super clean. Was actually a big hit. I liked it a lot. It was a lot of fun to play. That's Point Salad. Like I said, Point City is a level up from that in terms of complexity. I fully expect them to keep this line going with Point something else in the future for
Point
game.
Universe,
Point World, Point Marvel, the Point Multiverse.
So I think if we're going to compare the 2 games, Point Salad has something going for it that Point City doesn't, which is I like Point Salad and I don't care for Point City.
Really?
I am trying.
Shots already fired.
I am desperately trying to think of something I enjoyed about Point City, and it's just not. It's just one of those games that just fell completely flat for me.
Well, let me ask, do you like Splendor?
Splendor is okay.
So that speaks to this a little bit.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
I don't know if it came through in the rules. It was a bit longer to get into, but kind of the way this game works is similar to Splendor, to where when you collect some of these cards, they give you permanent resources. So to buy these cards, you need resources. So you're spending them, to do that at the start of the game. But when you get those cards, on them are actual permanent resources that you can then quote unquote spend, but never go away.
Mm-hmm. On most of
Splendor is the same kind of a way. So you're kind of building this resource engine of trying to get these permanent resources to be able to buy things more cheaply later on in the game. But also, as you go through this deck, there's level 1, level 2, and level 3, and things get increasingly more expensive as you go through the deck. So you need this permanent income to be able to afford things later. And that's a core tenet of Splendor as well, which is why I asked that.
To tie this into our main topic, I think Splendor Duel is a superior game to the original Splendor. So, it's just there's something about that permanent resource thing. It just does not work for me.
So here's where I had my biggest complaint on Point City. It was pleasant. It was easy to learn, easy to play. It's a quick game. But I think it's kind of giving you... I thought about this over the time since we've played it. I think it's telling you have a bunch of choices, but you don't have a lot of choices.
It's the illusion of free will.
Choice. So the game starts out with a grid of 16 cards to choose from, and in player order, you're selecting 2 neighboring cards, which are then being replaced by 2 more cards from the deck. Dwayne, as you said, those are going from level 1 to level 2 to level 3. I think when everything is at level 1, everybody's choosing, kind of setting their stage, building their engine, trying to figure out what they want to do. Once the level 2 and level 3 cards are introduced, it seems to me like as soon as those are introduced, you take those cards.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
And so from that point forward, you're not really drawing from that field of 16 anymore. You're drawing from whatever just got vacated. If you're passing up on the level 2 or level 3s to take the level 1 that you've already been passing on for several turns, to me that just seems like bad gameplay. And that's where I think this game kind of burped a little bit for me, was once you get into level 2 and level 3, your choices aren't there anymore. It's just give me the good cards.
Yeah.
Well, go ahead, Emily.
That's what, like, you might not pass up that tier 1 card, though, when you're towards the bottom of the deck. I had a scenario, like, the other day where it's like we talked about civic tokens in the rules explanation, but one of the end game kind of bonus scoring points you can get is, like, 3 points per this pair of tags. And so I found myself kind of slim on resources, but I was, like, collecting, like, the purple tag and the green tag, and there was a tier 1 purple tag, and it was cheap. Like, it's some of those, like, tier 2, tier 3 cards will have a resource tag and a victory point score on it. They're definitely more valuable, but it's like, if I'm just trying to get that, like, last push to a victory point towards the end, I might go for that cheaper tier 1 card, especially if it's, like, my only option.
Now that said, when we were playing the game, this idea of just give me the good card didn't immediately jump out at me. It was something I thought of more after the game, when I kind of reflected on, did I like this? Did I not like it? I kind of went, wait, why would I continue to take level 1 cards when level 2 and 3 are out there? That's dumb.
Well, part of it, I'll say, when they could come into play is, to Emily's point, if you need tags to help you reach an end game, civic token goal that you've taken, but also, like you mentioned, JK, when you're taking your turn, you're taking 2 adjacent cards. If you're taking resource cards, those are just free grabs. You don't pay for them or anything like that. But to take buildings, there's always a cost associated with them. If there are 2 building cards next to each other and you have the resources to afford them, you can take 2 building cards in one turn, which can be a pretty powerful move to get your engine going. And that might be a combination of a level 2 and level 1. I think that's when spending some of those resources can make sense, because you can spend a turn to get 2 building cards to help you keep moving things forward. So
totally agree.
That's how I would go about that.
And the neighboring cards could be influential. You could take a 3 and a 1. You could take a 2 and a 1. I totally get that.
Yeah.
I find it hard to believe that there's any strategy worthwhile in the game, late game, to go, oh, there's 2 level 1s there. I'm going to go ahead and grab those 2 that have been sitting there all game. That it just doesn't make sense to me.
Oh, late game for sure. Yeah, if you're in the level 3 deck area,
you're not grabbing just ones.
If you played really poorly if you can't afford level 2 and 3 cards at that point. But
I played very poorly. It was a rough game.
That's it. Like, I'm so fascinated, Dwayne, that you don't find this one entertaining, because the part that I like about it the most is kind of like going for the efficient engine. Like, what is going to be the most optimal play so that I have resources, so that when the tier 3 cards come out, I can, like, purchase them without sweating. Or, like, the civic tokens I find to be kind of like, I don't know. I would say most intimidating, but that's too strong of a word. Like, this is a very chill game. But, like, I've played before where 2 buildings come out kind of like on the first few rounds, and they're like the civic buildings. And I was like, I don't know what civic token I want to get. Like, I don't know how my tableau is going to shape out after however many rounds. And so that might be another example of a tier 1 card I save until later so that I can just get a cheap civic token once I know what my tableau is kind of looking like.
In my plays, I found that civic cards usually don't last very long, just because a lot of the points in the game are those civic tokens.
Yeah.
So when one comes out into the market, everyone's usually looking at it saying like, "Oh man, I wish I want to get that. Do I have the resources for it?" And when it's early game, it's kind of chance sometimes if you do. But you have some flexibility. We have some wild cards out there that help you do that. Another thing that can help clear out level 1 cards is there is a part of the game where entire rows will get cleared if it's all resources. Is that it? I can't remember.
It's
I don't
not
think
that
we
it gets
ever encountered
cleared.
that. Emily mentioned that at the start of the game, and I don't think it ever came up.
Sorry, I talked over you. It's not that it gets cleared, it's that you have an option to flip over a resource to its building side to
That's
give you
it.
to give you more options. Because that's how we messed it up at Tabletop Day last year. Is like we flipped it all to buildings, and then it felt like oops, all buildings, and we have no resources. In which case, then you draw 2 off the top. But yeah, they list it as an optional like pre-turn action, but I've never felt the need to do it. Like the reward just doesn't seem high enough to do it.
I've done it before, hoping to get that double building turn. Like I've had turns start off where it's all resources, and there's a building card that I know I want, and let me go ahead and flip this other one over and see if I get lucky, and it's another building card that I can afford. So I've done it for that, and then hoping for maybe a double wild or something like that. But yeah, I can see where. I mean, I don't think it's as bad as your turns are predetermined. Like you feel like they're predetermined for you. Like you have no choice. Like the obvious move is this. It's not quite as bad as that, but I can see. I mean, if you can afford a level 2 card, there aren't many level 1 cards that are better than level 2 cards.
Sure.
So, but it would cost you less resources. Sometimes you can get a permanent resource card and spend less than the level 2 card. But I know it didn't bother me too much. I have had games where I felt like I played a really good game and I wasn't even competitive with the score. So, yeah.
Nobody looked at you, Dwayne. You don't have to laugh. It's okay.
Oh my. Yeah, I did not perform well on this game. Well, any final thoughts before we do our famous keep it to play or trade it away?
I think I'm ready to vote.
I'm good.
All right, let's start with Emily. You brought the game. You kick us off.
All right, I did bring the game, and since that play with the hosts, I've played it about 5 more times. So I think this is an obvious keep it to play for me. I love playing it with the family. The kids are getting older and they're starting to grasp the strategy, and so I'm getting a lot of like different experiences playing it with a variety of players.
JK.
I didn't dislike it.
Go on.
And I think in the right environment, this is a decent game to start a gaming night, or maybe this is a quick palate cleanser after you've just gotten your heads kicked in by a cooperative game, something along those lines. If you're planning a game night and Point City is your centerpiece game, I'm probably not going to hang out with you for very long.
Mm-hmm.
But it's fine. It's not a keeper for me.
Okay.
For me, it is a keeper. I like it a lot. It can be quick. I think one of my actual final thoughts here, it can also draw out too long sometimes. It should be a quick poppy game, and if you have people taking too long on their turns, it shouldn't be. It can kind of be like, this should not be this long of a game. But when that's not the case, it is a lot of fun. We actually introduced our neighbors to it when we had them over recently. They just moved into the neighborhood, and they actually just told us recently that this was months ago, and they just told us like a few weeks ago that they bought a copy.
Oh, good.
So I like it a lot. I'm hesitant to bring out Point Salad in replacement of it. The main reason I would is because Point Salad can literally be taught in under a minute and played in like 5 minutes.
You don't want to take a step backwards?
It's so fast. That's when I would bring Point Salad out. But for the most part, I'm always going to go to Point City. And I am looking forward to where they're going to continue with the series. It's a keep it for me. Keep it to play.
Yeah, there's just very little meat on this engine builder for me, so I'm going to trade it away. And you know what? Actually, I do need a reminder. I know it's not me. We can go ahead and eliminate one of those options. Who won this game?
Yeah, so I won this game.
Hey,
two in a row.
I know. I'm trying to beat JK's streak here.
I'm trying to start a streak.
What is your streak, JK? 3?
I think I won 3 in a row.
All right. So Emily, as you know, as the winner of Point City, you get to choose our next game of the show. What's that game going to be?
All right. This next game is going to be inspired by a vacation I'm currently on. visiting some sights and sounds out west, we're going to go with parks.
Whoa!
All right.
Yeah. Yeah, I like parks.
That's a delightful little
I'll
game.
get my
Love
hiking
me
boots
some
ready.
national parks.
Yeah. Keymaster Games,
Yep.
I think.
Yeah.
Yep.
yeah.
Is the publisher. Great little production. Couple of expansions. We'll talk. We'll talk more about it. But yeah,
right.
that's cool. Great choice.
Yeah.
So
Looking forward to it.
Parks is our future game of the show. And speaking of future games of the show, if there's a game you'd like us to play, send your suggestions on those games to our email at pod@gleefulmeeple.com.
All right, so I think we've talked enough about games that it's time to play a game on air. No, not a board game, a game about board games. This week, JK has brought us a game for the host to partake in.
Oh, you guys are in for it today.
Oh, I'm so excited.
So let's talk about board game titles.
Okay.
You know, some companies come up with really snappy titles. They're simple. They're 1, 2, 3 words. You're in and out of there. We've talked about a lot of them today. We've said Lacrimosa, Lost Cities, Monikers, Dice Throne.
You're pronunciating things very specifically.
Easily recognizable. Some games get a little bit more drawn out titles and often use a very, very popular piece of punctuation, the colon. So for today's game, what we are going to do is I have selected a list of games here that all feature a colon and then a subtitle to their game.
Fantastic. I love it.
I am going to read you everything after the colon.
Oh,
You tell
man.
me what precedes the colon.
Oh, okay.
So,
Okay.
welcome to our game of post-colonoscopy. All right.
Love it. Love it.
I need you guys to, reach down into the deepest bowels of your guts to figure out
Oh,
these
my
answers.
word.
Are we ready?
Yes.
So here's what
Listen to your guts is what you're saying.
exactly. Here's what we did. I have a list of questions here or clues. They're in random order, and prior to our podcast, we selected at random someone who is going to go first. That will be Emily.
Hey.
Emily is going to be given the first clue. If she gets it right, great. We're going to move on to James and then Dwayne in that order. If Emily does miss it, we will go around the table where you guys will have an opportunity to steal until they're correct, or we miss 3 times in a row. Cool?
All right.
All
Let's
right.
let's give it a go.
All right. Emily, your first quiz. First, what would that be? First
subtitle.
clue? First
colon.
First
colon.
colon.
First colon.
Your first colon is colon, pedal to the metal.
That would have to be heat.
It is heat.
Oh, Emily got the
Oh,
gimme.
She got
Yeah,
an easy one.
man.
There's a few in here that are easy, and there's a few that are going to be mind-numbingly challenging. All of these are from BGG
Okay.
in the top 2,000 and features a colon on their website. So there are
All
some
right.
that have longer titles, but I couldn't find that there's a colon there, so those are not included. James, colon, Mission Deep Sea.
My brain is stopping all of a sudden.
Come on, James.
Oh
You
my
got
gosh,
this.
I know this
You
game,
got this.
and I'm blanking.
It doesn't affect you. You're not human.
Oh my god, I know this game.
This is the game I always say wrong.
It's the trick taking game.
Yes.
Yep.
Oh my gosh,
Called.
I just cannot think of the name all of a sudden. Quest for the first one is Quest for Planet or whatever 9 or oh my gosh.
If almost giving the name of the first game was the goal of the game, you'd be doing
I know. I'd be doing so good right now. I have this game. I own this game. Oh my goodness. I'm not gonna hold this up. Dwayne, it's over to you. I'm blanking.
JK, are you looking for The Crew?
It is The Crew.
Oh my gosh.
All right. On to Dwayne. Dwayne, your first one. Colon, Empires of the North.
Yeah, this is my turn to choke. Empires of the North. I feel like I might have seen this box at some point. I'm going to pass over to Emily.
Emily?
Oh no, why did you do that? You said Empires of the North?
Empires of the North.
Yeah, I don't know this one either.
Over to James.
Is it Imperial
It
Settlers?
is Imperial Settlers.
Ah, there you
James
go.
makes the comeback.
Getting my gamer card back.
All right. Miss Emily,
All right.
colon, The Curse of Volcar.
Oh no. Volcar?
Volcar, VUL-KAR.
Oh, I did see this title the other day, but I'm not going to remember it. I'm going to have to pass.
I had to look to my right to see what James' expression was, and he's giving the classic thinker pose. So
Uh-huh.
I'm hoping.
Emily, you're out on this one?
Oh, he might have it.
James?
No, I do. I know the game, but I it's not coming to me. The Curse of Volcar. I'm gonna pass. Dwayne.
So I used to vacation here quite a bit when I was a kid. Is it Fireball Island?
It is Fireball
that was
Island.
Wow.
All right, James, colon, The Tree Spirits.
Oh,
The look of utter confusion James just gave me was priceless here.
This is the tree making game, I'm pretty sure, where you're putting out cards that represent branches. And oh my gosh. I think that's what it is.
Before you go down that path too far, I'm just going to say
No?
no.
Oh. Well, in that case, the tree spirits? The tree spirits.
The dog's
I don't know. I don't know what it is. Dang it. Passing it on.
Dwayne.
Okay, here's the thing. Tree games are kind of a blind spot in my board gaming library. I'm going to guess the only tree game I know, and that is Everdale.
It is not. Miss Emily, got a guess?
That was also my first thought with trees. I don't know
Nobody
this one
gets
either,
this
JK.
one. All right. That is Kodama, the Tree Spirits.
I was gonna say Kodama. That is you actually do branches.
Is it?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, that's what it
Oh
is.
man, JK threw you
I
off.
did, yeah.
Mm,
All right.
mm.
Emily would hate me if she knew I missed that one. My wife, Emily.
All right. Dwayne, colon. I'm going to quit saying colon. I think
Okay.
we've talked enough about my colon today. So I'm just going to give you the answers. Dwayne, Journeys in the Dark.
Oh my gosh. I can see this one. Oh, it makes me so mad. I'm gonna have to
You're gonna hate
pass.
yourself.
No. Journeys in the Dark. Oh, I take it back. I got it. Because it's a pretty decent game. It's Descent.
It is Descent.
Nice one.
James gave me that clue. That clue was very helpful.
All right. Over to Emily. Eastern Wonders.
I'm so glad you gave me Heat because I don't know any of these other ones. Eastern Wonders?
Eastern Wonders.
Yeah, no, I'm going to have to pass.
All right. Over to James.
Again. I know it. It's in my brain somewhere.
I believe you own it.
I know. This is a great game, JK. You're making my brain break when it really shouldn't.
It's good for the podcast. Lots of silence.
Yeah. We'll edit all that silence
Okay,
out.
that's fair.
It'll be amazing. Oh my gosh.
I didn't know this had a colon in it. I just looked it up.
I'll
Get off the internet.
cheater. Eastern Wonders.
Yes.
I'm gonna pass.
Dwayne?
I'm just gonna take a guess. Is it White Castle?
It is not.
No.
What if I said the first game in the trilogy is the most popular?
What's the first one in
Is
the
it
trilogy?
Eric Lang?
Nope.
No, it's you're talking about Shem Phillips trilogy.
Nope. Nope.
It's not Azul.
Nope.
First game in the trilogy. It's a trilogy that I own.
Yeah,
or at least
and-
the first game.
And every game has a colon in it. Such as the first one, Spice Road.
Oh, Century.
Century.
Oh, wow.
Here's why it took me for a loop. I own all the Golem editions, which
Yeah.
The subtitle's
this is
different.
different.
It is.
Yeah.
It is. Okay. I think we're still over to you anyway, James. I think it's your guess. Yours is going to be the Harvest Festival.
That would be lanterns.
It is lanterns.
Nice.
Good job.
I knew that
Dwayne?
one too.
Yeah. Dwayne, vendetta.
Oh no.
Yo, Thunder Road.
It is Thunder
Yes.
Road.
Wow.
I can't believe that took you that long.
Well, here's the thing. I don't think of there being a cola. It's just Thunder
Thunder
Road
Road
Vendetta.
Vendetta.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's why that. Oh man, that was. I'm just mad that I didn't get it quicker.
All right. These next three are going to be fun. Emily,
Yes.
the Mayan calendar.
The Mayan calendar?
The Mayan calendar.
The Mayan calendar.
I have no clue.
She's bailing out already. James?
Would that be Zolkin?
Solkeen, yes.
Boo.
All right. James, yours is The Fall of Avalon.
Oh.
I don't think I've ever played this or seen this game.
The Fall of Avalon.
Playing on hard
I
mode.
feel like Ryan may have had this game in his collection at one point.
I have an idea. I don't think this is it's not the social deduction game. Right?
No.
No. I'll pass for now.
Dwayne?
And hopefully it'll come back around to me.
Shadows over Camelot's the only thing that comes to mind, but I know that's not it.
Nope. Emily?
Nope.
Yeah, I knew this.
Any clues you can give to open it up?
Think Monty Python.
Grail. Tainted Grail.
Tainted Grail.
Yes.
Oh, wow.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Mentally, I'm
Yeah.
taking a half point for that
I
one.
think Ryan had that. Ryan, tell us in the comments.
he definitely did.
Okay. Dwayne, I'm really sorry for this one, but this is random order and this is what you get.
Mm-hmm.
Trading and negotiation in the Elysium Quadrant.
Absolutely not. I'm done. Emily.
Emily, that is trading and negotiation in the Elysium Quadrant.
The only Elysium I know is from Terraforming Mars. So, like, is it Terraforming Mars
is that your
Turmoil
answer?
Expansion?
Is that your answer?
Sure.
No, it's wrong.
Yeah.
James,
Figured.
trading and negotiation in the Elysium Quadrant.
Trading. This sounds like a 4X game. If you got trading and negotiating and it's in space. I don't think Twilight Imperium has that as its subtitle. I don't think. I don't know that it takes place in Elysium. I'm going to say it, though. Twilight Imperium.
No. This has got to be the worst board game title ever.
Go on.
Sidereal Confluence.
Oh,
Trading and
yeah.
negotiation in the Elysium Quadrant.
A very well regarded and reviewed game. Lots of people like it. I've never seen it in person.
Do they say they like the name?
I don't think so.
I don't. Yeah, no.
I might have to do some research on that one. That is new to me.
All right. Miss Emily,
All right.
Summer Pavilion.
This would have to be Azul.
It is Azul.
Well done. Well done.
Nice.
All right. James, The Jinns of Nagala.
Jinns of Nagala?
The Jinns of Nagala.
Oh my gosh.
And when I say Jinns,
DJINNS.
that is correct, yes.
Yeah. I don't think that has a subtitle. No, it doesn't. I don't know.
Dwayne,
Is it a Days of Wonder game?
it is.
Is it 5 Tribes?
It is 5 Tribes.
All right.
All right. Over to Dwayne for Murder in Hong Kong.
Deception?
It is Deception.
All right.
Miss Emily,
Okay.
Second Dawn for the Galaxy.
Oh no.
I feel like you've been in proximity of this game being played if you
Probably.
haven't actually played it.
It's not. It's not Twilight Inscription, is it?
No.
Okay.
James,
Eclipse.
it is Eclipse.
Yes.
Oh.
All right. And James, we are back to you for Heroes of the Reef.
Why do when it's not my turn, I can think of these games. When it is mine, Heroes of the Tidal Blades.
It is Tidal Blades.
Woo.
I'm glad that one didn't come to me.
Mr. Dwayne,
Hello.
Fire Rescue.
Oh, Flashpoint.
It is Flashpoint. All right. Miss Emily,
Yeah.
the Psychic Espionage Game.
Psychic espionage.
The Psychic Espionage Game.
Emily, I'm going to go ahead and put this on our to play list right under La Cremosa, actually.
Yeah, this is a great game.
I don't know.
James?
It's a one-word title.
It is not.
Oh, well, then maybe it is the Psychic Espionage Game. Then I don't know. Dwayne does, though.
That is Mind Management.
Mind
Oh,
Management.
dang.
All right.
Y'all, Mind Management, we've talked about two-player games a little earlier. My wife and I have loved playing that game together. It is so solid. Not made for two, but a very good two-player
A
game.
lot of fun. James, over to you for Winds of Galecrest.
That would be the pirate game that starts with an L. Pretty sure. And Libertalia.
Yeah,
Libertalia is
well
correct.
done.
I had to
Well
get
done.
myself
Yes.
there. Talk it out.
Dwayne, Age of Sail.
Endeavor.
It is Endeavor. All right, Emily, we're being nice to you again. Jaws of the Lion.
That's nice. Have I played this game?
Probably not.
Then I think I'm gonna have to pass.
James?
A freebie. It's Gloomhaven.
It's Gloomhaven.
Yeah.
All right, James. A Game of Nature and Nurture.
This is definitely Cascada does not have that subtitle. Oh, it's on the tip of my brain. This isn't the Fox Experiment. That's just a single title. A Game of Nature and Nurture. It's an outdoorsy game. It's a foresty game. Forest Shuffle?
No. Dwayne?
Did James say the title?
No.
Okay. I don't have a guess then.
Okay. Emily, A Game of Nature and Nurture.
I don't know.
That is Planted.
Oh.
Planted.
Hmm.
All right, Dwayne, another toughie for you. High King of Ireland.
Oh, no. I don't think I even have a guess.
Emily, High King of Ireland.
I don't think I know this, but the first game that popped into my head was Lowlands.
It's a good guess, but no.
All right.
It's
James?
the new trick-taking game. Starts with a B. And Brian Boru.
Brian Boru is correct.
Oh, I have played that. I did not know the full
there's
title.
efforts of a comeback being made by James here.
I'm
We'll see how this
trying.
shakes out here. Emily, on to your next one. Adventures on the Cursed Island.
Adventures on the Cursed Island. I'm gonna have to pass. I don't know.
James?
I don't know if I know that one. Adventures on the Cursed Island. I do not. I don't know that one.
Dwayne?
I think I have played this game, and I cannot recover the title right now.
It is Robinson Crusoe.
Oh, I haven't played it.
I
I
almost
feel a
thought
little
about
bit better.
All right. We are over to Emily, right? Yes.
No. Dwayne.
Dwayne.
Yeah.
Right?
No.
No.
I started
it's you.
that one.
It's you. It's you.
Oh, it's me.
It's you. It's just you. Legends of a Drift System.
Zaya, Zach. It's that game.
You said it.
Yeah. Zaya.
Zaya.
Yeah.
Zaya. Legends of a Drift System by Zaya. Dwayne. The City of Silver.
I've seen it played. Nope, it's not there.
Emily. The City of Silver.
I want to believe I know this game, but it's not coming to me, so I'm going to pass.
James, the City of Silver.
I think it's a one-word title, and it's not coming to me. It's a place. I don't know. Maybe throw a clue out there.
I've talked about it on the show several times about my disdain for the box.
Kutnahora.
Kutnahora is it. I'm not giving you the points for that. All right, everybody, you got one.
Half point?
No. You got one more apiece. One each.
Okay.
All right, last
Emily,
round.
yours will be build a better dystopia.
Build a better dystopia?
Build a better dystopia.
Oh, no. Yeah, I have no clue.
James?
It's not the Fallout game. I want to... Isn't Skyrise, is it?
It is not Skyrise.
I think...
Resistance?
No, sir.
Is this the Meeple rolling game?
This one is Euphoria.
Oh, yeah.
Huh.
Highly rated. I've never played, never seen it.
I acquired it somehow for a little while and sold it. Never played it, though.
Okay, James, the last one over to you. City of Gods.
Teotihuacan?
Yes, it is.
Wow, well done.
All right. So at the moment, James has 10 points. Emily has 2. Thank you for playing. Dwayne has 9. Dwayne, if you can get this last one, you tie it all up
Okay.
with James. And I'm going to go back to saying colon on this one because it's just funny if I say it.
Okay.
Okay, you ready?
Uh-huh.
Colon, the coffee game. Colon, the dice game.
Viva Java.
It is Viva Java.
Oh.
You guys tie.
Hey.
Do you want a tiebreaker?
Yeah, always.
Yeah.
There we go. All right. So the first person to buzz in and tell me the correct answer on this one wins the game. Colon, a new story of civilization.
Mosaic.
Wrong.
Dang it.
Dwayne, your chance to win the game.
Oh.
I don't like that. Oh. I don't like it, Dwayne. I'm going to keep talking to interrupt your train of thought.
I love it. I've got too many guesses for any one of them to be valid, I think. Paleo?
That is not
No.
correct. It is Through the Ages.
All right.
Oh, man.
Thankfully, I have one more tiebreaker.
Oh, good.
All right, here we go. City of Angels.
Detective.
It is Detective.
Whoa.
Who takes the win?
Oh, go. Way to
Nice.
go, Dwayne.
Sounds like I need to add more games to my to-be-played list.
Yeah, I have learned a lot from our little game today.
Yeah, just do a search on BGG for punctuation, and you need to learn all those.
All right.
That's your homework.
Yeah.
Well, everyone, it's been good gathering around the table again, getting to see everyone talk about some board games.
Good to be back.
Yes. Thanks, James.
Thanks for
coming
holding
back.
down
Yeah.
the booth, the
Yeah.
recording booth while I was gone.
I'm glad we didn't have any special guests today. Those people were a little weird.
They
Yeah.
were a little weird.
Yeah.
I heard some stories.
Yeah. We should thank our sponsor today, General Mills Foods, specifically Fruit Brute and Yummy Mummy cereal. Those guys are just monster breakfast cereals. Don't know why they aren't as popular as Count Chocula, Boo Berry, and Frankenberry. But yes, Fruit Brute and Yummy Mummy coming to a table near you.
Maybe.
In 1970 something. Thanks for listening, folks. You can find us on Instagram at Gleeful Meeple Pod, or email us at pod@gleefulmeeple.com. That's a 2-week streak where I've gotten both those things right. I am on fire. This episode will be hitting in the early part of July. Come see our group at Gen Con, as well as several events throughout Nashville in the month of July. I think we're going to have 8 or 9 events this month. That's getting kind of crazy.
Ooh.
More new venues asking for us to come visit them, too. Kind of cool. Bye, everybody.
Goodbye. Play some
Bye,
two-player
everyone.
games.
Bye, Gleeples.